Today you are gonna be going through the exact process on how to scale a lead generation agency from 0 to multiple 6 figures by solving other problems in the market that are bottlenecking revenue growth, using the positive feedback loop systems, or pretty much starting broad and dialing everything in as we go and as we learn, as we get data, as we get case studies, etc. And this protocol is pretty much based on us working with over 200 lead generation agencies in the past 11 months. Here we have our chart and we have a few different colors. We have green colors. Pretty much everything that is green has to do with the foundations of the agency. Then we have red colors that have to do with the sales assets and marketing assets of the business. Then we have blue colors and blue boxes that are pretty much everything that's directly correlated to revenue growth. And then we have yellow colors that are pretty much adapting and scaling processes and protocols that you have to go through. It pretty much starts from the fact of if you have a case study or not. A case study is an extremely necessary piece if you really want to scale high. First of all, it's of course going to help you with closing and pricing higher and being able to work with bigger and better clients, but it also gives you validation on your market and on your offer and on your skill. If you're starting from completely scratch, you probably don't have a case study yet. If you already have a good transformational, like really high leverage case study, something where you really clearly took someone from a state 1 to state 2 and you have a time frame for it and you have an interview for it and you are able to prove that it happened and describe it specifically how it happened. If you have that, then you're able to skip straight here, but if not, then you'll have to start from here. So pretty much the first thing that you need to do is you need to pick a broad version 1 B2B market. And pretty much it's all based on the fact that you are starting broad and you are starting from a big market and more of a general offer and surface level knowledge and insights on the market. And then as you go, you dial it in more specifically target it to that market, because that way you are never pretty much wrong. You're not crossing your fingers and hoping that your niche works, because if you do it like this, it's always gonna work. Great examples: IT, software, marketing, advertising, finance, and usually it's pretty good to tie it into already existing knowledge or experience. So maybe you have studied accounting, or maybe you have already run a marketing agency or whatever it might be. Tie the prior background in to your version 1 market, because that way you're able to already relate and speak the language of the industry, etc. Then when you have picked your version 1 B2B market, you do surface level market research. So at this point, we are not really hopping on calls with people yet to do market research. The only thing we're really doing is we're trying to figure out like what is the average company in this market doing, what kind of numbers they are pulling, what kind of products they are selling, what are they struggling with, what are the goals, dreams, desire. And you pretty much are able to find all of these details from just doing Google searches, using AI, going on forums, joining communities where your market hangs out, reading social media, watching videos, watching podcasts. Everything long form is especially really good. Like for example, an industry specific podcast is an amazing place to learn that information, because when it's a long form piece of content and it's a podcast where people are just talking, you're able to skim through it and find really knowledgeable information, because people are forced to go a bit more specific on the things because it's a longer form. Then based on your surface level market research, what you do is you create a version 1 offer based on market research. And the reason why I'm saying version 1 niche, version 1 this, version 1 that, is because it literally is the first edition of it. A big mistake that people make is they pick their niche and then they decide that they're not gonna change it for a year. I'm not gonna start niche hopping, so I'm just gonna stick with this. The chances are, if you're doing things correctly, you are learning about the market, you're learning about the industry, you're learning about different sub niches inside the market, and that gives you the opportunity to niche down into something that has more demand or more potential in terms of actually growing your agency. So we are creating a version 1 offer based on the market research. If you find out that everyone is struggling with signing big clients and everyone is relying on industry events for their lead flow that happen 3 times a year, you're able to target this really specifically in your offer, in your emails, in your VSL, and you are pretty much just able to offer exactly what the market needs and wants by just doing this market research. Of course, at this point, because you haven't really worked in the market yet, you might be completely wrong, but that is the beautiful thing about doing it this style, because you're able to always go back to the foundations and change it when you learn something new. Then, based on the market that you have picked, you go ahead and you craft a version 1 sales letter based on your offer. So you create a proper VSL, going over the claim, what you're able to do for them. If you have some background already that shows credibility in the industry, you put that in. You identify who is exactly the customer, perfect for your offer, what is the core concept, why it works, what is your background, what is the exact mechanism to deliver results, what needs to be done. You make it really useful, really unique, really insightful. Then when you have really showed them that this stuff can be really powerful and the mechanism mechanism can work, then you just pretty much pitch your offer into it on the sales letter and show that, yeah, you can do this alone, but it's going to be super hard and painful. You're going to run into all of these crazy problems, or you can just work with us and we'll handle this and this and this and this and this for you, and you don't have to do a single thing. So you create the sales letter based on the market research and everything that you have learned up to this point. Then craft high volume outbound campaigns. And why do they need to be high volume? When you are reaching out to a broad market with a general offer, you're not able to make your messaging and your offer and everything, you're not able to make it super specific and super accurate so it would resonate with a specific buyer, because you don't have a specific buyer. You target the whole industry. Let's say you target the whole IT industry. You're not able to specifically dial down and nail down for one specific prospect type or one specific company type. That's gonna, of course, lower the conversion volume that we have. It's gonna lower our booking rate, it's gonna lower our reply rate, it's gonna lower our closing rate. And that's once again fine, because we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna compensate the lower conversion rate by more volume. And then you craft your high volume outbound campaigns. You test 3 to 5 different angles or different end results that you're able to provide with your mechanism after you have reached out to around 500 leads with each angle. So usually it ends up being like 2,000 to 3,000 leads that you actually reach out to. You go back and you look like, okay, is any of these variations giving me a 0.5% booking rate on the leads contacted? If you send out 1,000 emails, have you booked 5 discovery calls with any of these variations? If not, you go back and you craft it again. You craft new variations to test, new campaigns, new targeting. You pretty much are just spinning through like until you get around 0.5. In some markets 0.3 is fine. As long as you are hitting like 0.3 to 0.5% booking rates on your leads contacted, you're able to move forward with it. Until that happens, make sure that you actually understand the niche well enough that you're able to hit 0.5 or at least around there. The next step is you book discovery calls with them and you also book demo calls with them. And the actual sales process that you use here is you use something like this. So you do outbound campaigns. You are aiming to hit around 0.5% conversion rate to discovery calls. On discovery calls, on average, 60% of the prospects you talk to are going to be unqualified. If they are unqualified, you move them to your CRM or you just eliminate them completely from your sales process. And then around 40% of the prospects are going to move on to demo calls. And then on demo calls, you should be closing at least around 20% straight up. And then of course your follow-ups are going to close a bit more. So you're pretty much going to use something like these 2 sales calls. First a discovery call, no pitching, you're just qualifying them. You're just making sure that they're a fit. And if they're a fit, you're moving them to a demo call. And then on the demo call, you're going to actually nail down your pitch. You're going to close, you're going to handle objections, and then you're hopefully going to onboard them. Remember, you only really need to close 20% of your demos for your campaigns to work really smooth. So don't stress about it, even if 80% of your calls end up being no's and let me think about it calls. So you go through that, and after you have done at least 10 discovery calls, you're gonna look at our discovery to close client rate, and you're gonna see if you are closing at least 10% of your discovery calls with an upfront fee. And the upfront fee is here an important thing, because when we really want to create the case study, because remember, like the whole point of this is to get a case study. If we want to get a case study, we really need the client to be committed to working with us, because they need to give us the green light on testing new angles. They need to help us out with case studies, they need to help us out with a bunch of stuff. We want to make sure that the client we're actually working with is always actually committed and interested in working with us. It's really easy to go out there and just rip completely no upfront fee, pay-per-call deals, and you're easily able to close 20-30% of your discovery calls. Because like remember, first you have a disco, then you have a demo. So the discovery calls, the close rate needs to be at least 10%. If you have no upfront fee, it's super easy to get like 30, 40, 50% of your discovery calls to be sales, because you don't really need to be that committed to actually buying it. But that's gonna, first of all, what it's gonna do is it can give you a false positive on your offer. So your offer might be shit, but because it is fully no upfront fee, you might still be closing on it. So you can get a false positive in your offer, and you think that it's good when it's actually not. And it's also gonna make it harder for you to get a case study down the line. You can just end up wasting a lot of time because you're working with prospects who are not actually super committed to working with you. So you have at least like $1,000 to $3,000 starting fee up front, and then you do pay per call. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna onboard 3 to 5 clients on your version 1 pay per call offer. If for some reason you're not closing at 10% rate compared to your discovery calls, you need to go back and you need to create a new offer and maybe even do a bit more new market research, because clearly the offer and the end results that you're targeting on your offer aren't resonating if you're closing below 10% from your discovery calls. You onboard 3 to 5 clients on your version 1 pay per call offer, and you start fulfillment for clients. And then you ramp fulfillment at least like 2 to 3 months. It can happen sooner, but like 3 months is like a bit of a minimum minimum on when you actually can know if it's resonating really well with these companies. Like in a lot of cases, a lot of people get confused. They sign their first lead generation clients and it actually isn't that hard because you're looking at some killer ass YouTube videos from me, and then you sign your first client or first few clients, and then you start doing fulfillment, and then after a month or after 2 months you have booked like 3 calls and you're like,
this model doesn't work and fucking Levi is a scammer and
no one talks about the difficulties of fulfillment and blah 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 blah. Just some dumb shit. What it just actually means that you need to do more market research and need to test more on the foundational side for the client. But of course for you it's gonna be way easier and faster to get the first lead generation clients. For someone like me, I have already figured out what works and what doesn't, but I can't do that for every single client of yours. So you do fulfillment and then you go back here and you ask and you look, like, do I now have at least one high leverage case study? Like, have I been able to take someone from point A to point B in a specific time frame, and am I able to get a case study interview with this customer? If you don't know how to do case study interviews, you can just check my YouTube channel. I have a video showing you exactly how to do it, but you pretty much just ask like, okay, do I have a case study? Am I able to prove that I've made a transformation to someone? Like, then if for some reason not, still after like 4 or 5 months working with at least 5 clients, if you still don't have a case study, well, you're doing something wrong, you're super lazy, you just don't care, or there's something wrong with your foundation. So you are the only person who can answer the first 3. But then if you're 100% sure that you are actually doing a lot of work and you're actually doing your best and you still don't have a case study, then you might need to go ahead and do your foundations again. For most of you, for 95% of you who will have the high leverage case study, what you do is you go ahead and you craft a version 2 offer based on the case study. So if you have taken someone from 100k a month to 250k a month in 6 months by using a Google Doc leveraged outbound, that is gonna be your new offer because it's already validated. You know that you can do it, you know that you can prove it. That is your new offer. It's way more specific. Then you're gonna target your new ICP is pretty much gonna be the exact same type of company that you got the case study with. So let's say that you have gone into the IT market and you have worked with one cybersecurity company, one data center company, and one IT management company, and you got the case study with the cybersecurity company. You took a cybersecurity company from 100k to 250k a month. Then pretty much you're just gonna look at like, okay, what was their headcount? Where were they located? What were they selling? And what was their sub niche? Okay, we work with cybersecurity companies that have between 50 to 200 clients, and then okay, like now your new ICP is going to be cybersecurity companies, 50 to 200 headcount in the US selling cybersecurity products, whatever the fuck. And that is going to be your new ICP because you have already succeeded once with them. Then what you do is you craft a new VSL based on the case study. So you pretty much use the exact same VSL structure, go over your claim, your proof, your core concept, but you're also going to go deeply into your case study and show exactly how you made it happen, what needed to be done, what was their starting state. And you're just gonna target with your new offer, your new ICP, and you're gonna cover the case study and everything else that you did on the previous VSL. Of course, it has probably changed as you have learned because you have actually worked with these companies. Then you once again build and launch new outbound campaigns. And if for some reason you are hitting under 0.5% booking rates after 500 leads, you go back and you create new variations and you do one thing again. Like you just keep tweaking the outbound campaigns, like the targeting, the scripts, and follow-ups and all of that stuff. Then what you do is you onboard 5 high-level clients. So you leverage your case study to onboard your new clients on a retainer plus rev share. You should 100% add a guarantee or something to it. 3k to 6k to even 10k a month plus 5 to 25% rev share. And you onboard 5 high-level clients on retainer plus rev share. And this pretty much doesn't mean that you onboard them 5 all at once. This just means that you keep doing your own outreach until you have 5 clients. Because few of them are gonna drop out in the future, few of them are gonna probably ghost you, whatever the fuck. So you pretty much don't stop your outreach until you have 5 clients on that retainer plus rev share model. Then what you do, you're gonna hire one AI leverage VA for the low ROI task. So you're gonna onboard a VA or an EA or someone in their business who can just help you with time consuming and low ROI tasks. You build proper back office workflows and automation, so you really systemize stuff. You might start looking into automations at this point, like creating SOPs for the VA that you have brought in. You do a time audit, see what you're actually spending your time on, and you just pretty much start like building a stronger foundations in your back office as well. Then also what you do at the same time, as you're fulfilling and doing all of this stuff, you start creating content on YouTube and LinkedIn about your new protocol, about your new offer. You're gonna start shooting VSLs to YouTube, you're gonna do LinkedIn content, provide value. And remember, like when you do LinkedIn content or YouTube or whatever you do, don't create, for example, a LinkedIn content on the best lead scraping strategy that works for you, because what that's gonna do, it's gonna just attract a bunch of other lead gen dudes, a bunch of your competition to follow you so they can use your shit. Create content that is actually interesting and unique and useful for the companies that you're targeting, which are the cybersecurity companies. And then the last thing that you're gonna do when the fulfillment is rolling smooth, when your content is rolling smooth, you're getting a bunch of inbound. You don't even need to take on really new clients, but it's good to always create a little bit of social presence. It's gonna help you a lot in the long run if you need to replace clients and you're training your VA, working with your high quality clients. Then you start identifying new bottlenecks to solve to increase lifetime value. So if you're just providing cold email lead gen for all of these companies, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start analyzing the companies and seeing like what other things they're struggling with that are affecting their revenue growth. So for example, let's say that one of your clients has a 5% closing rate. Even though I'm bringing them a lot of leads, they could still be making 4 times more money if we could get their closing rate from 5 to 20 or even 15. It would triple the money that you would be making. And of course, if you triple the money that they're making from working with you, you're able to also triple your prices. Plus, you have rev share with them, so you're gonna also triple your performance fee that you get after every single month. Also, something that I just want to mention, if you are looking to build a lead generation agency, you're like, okay, this makes sense, but it's really confusing and I don't know what to do and how do I create a sales letter and blah 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 blah. What you can do is you can go to agencyvelocity.io. It is our consulting company where we pretty much help lead generation agencies go through this process, scale from 0 to 10K a month in 3 months, and then only the sky is the limit, right? So if you want, you can also check that out. If you enjoyed it, please drop me a like. If you didn't enjoy it, drop me a dislike. In my opinion, that's completely fair. If you have seen a few of my YouTube videos and you're like, this Levi dude, like a bit weird, he has funny hair and dumb mustache and his accent is pretty crazy. If you still think that my videos are valuable or enjoyable, drop me a subscribe. I think, like, once again, it's a fair deal, you know. I'm always looking to get more feedback, you know, the positive feedback loop system. I'm using it on my YouTube channel as well. So if you have any ideas on what kind of content you'd like to see from me or what you'd like to see me talk about or whatever it might be, drop me a comment. Tell me like, yeah, we make this type of videos, talk about this, do this, blah 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 blah. I'm 100% able to do it as long as it's a good idea. So that's gonna help me the most, and you're also able to affect what kind of content you're seeing from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.